Settle in. Get as comfortable as you can right now, exactly where you are. There's nowhere else you need to be tonight, and nothing else you need to do. Tonight, you're going somewhere quiet, somewhere high up and far away, where the rain falls the way it's supposed to fall, heavy, steady, patient, against a roof that has heard 1,000 storms just like this one, and has never once let a drop of it inside. Let's go there together. Slowly. You're driving. The road climbed steadily for the last 20 minutes, curving back on itself again and again through dense stands of pine, and the rain has been with you the entire way. Not a sudden downpour, but a long, steady rain that started sometime around mid-afternoon and simply never stopped. Your headlights catch it in long silver streaks against the dark trees. The wipers move at a slow, even rhythm across the windshield, back and forth and back and forth. And you've stopped even noticing the sound of them, the way you stop noticing any sound that's been with you long enough. The road you're on doesn't have a name you'd recognize. It's marked on your map only as a thin gray line winding up into the hills, past a sign so old and rain-worn you can barely make out the words on it anymore. You don't need the sign, though. You've been given directions already, careful directions written by hand. Follow the road until the pines thin out. Then look for the cabin with the green shutters, just past the second creek crossing. The first creek crossing comes and goes. A shallow concrete ford, the water running high and fast over it tonight, catching your headlights in 100 small silver ripples as you pass slowly through. For a moment, the sound of the water rushing beneath your tires rises above even the rain. A bright, busy sound, and then it fades behind you as the road climbs again into the trees. You drive on. The rain keeps falling. Somewhere below the sound of your engine and your wipers, you can just make out the deeper sound of it. Rain on the roof of your car, thousands of small impacts blurring together into one long, continuous hush. The heater hums low and steady from the dashboard vents, warm air settling around your ankles and hands, and outside your window, the pines slide past in long, dark ranks, their branches heavy and glistening whenever your headlights catch them. Every so often, a larger drop, gathered high in the branches, falls all at once onto your windshield with a single heavier tap, distinct from the steady rhythm around it before the wipers clear it away and the even rain returns. You pass no other cars, no other lights, just the road, narrowing gently as it climbs, and the rain, and the patient, unhurried hum of your own engine carrying you higher into the hills. The second creek crossing appears out of the dark, wider than the first, the water louder here, rushing over stones you can't see but can somehow sense are there, worn smooth by years of exactly this kind of rain. And just past it, exactly where the directions promised, the pines thin out into a small clearing, and there it is. The cabin. It sits low and solid against the hillside, built from dark timber gone silver gray at the edges, where decades of weather have settled into the wood. A single window glows warm and amber on the ground floor. Someone thoughtfully left a lamp burning for you. The shutters, just visible in the light spilling from that window, are painted a deep forest green, faded soft by years of sun and rain alike. You park as close as the muddy gravel drive allows, and for a moment, you simply sit there, engine off, listening to the rain drum against the roof of your car in the sudden quiet. It's louder now, without the engine to compete with it. A full, rich sound layered with dozens of smaller sounds underneath it. The particular high patter of rain on the car's metal roof, the deeper thrum of it against the ground, the constant trickle of water finding its way along unseen channels in the earth. You gather your things. There isn't much, just a single bag. And step out into the rain. It's cold against your face, but not unpleasantly so. Just enough to wake your skin up, to make the idea of a warm cabin and a warm fire feel like exactly the right idea. You cross the short distance to the porch quickly, but without hurrying. There's no reason to hurry, not really. You're already as wet as you're going to get in these few seconds. And step up under the shelter of the porch roof, where the rain becomes all at once a sound above you instead of a sensation against you. The porch boards are old and slightly uneven beneath your feet, worn into a soft gray by years of rain, much like tonight's. A row of dried herbs hangs from a hook beside the door. Lavender, maybe, or something like it. And the smell of it mixes with the wet pine smell of the forest and the mineral smell of rain on stone. The door is unlocked exactly as promised. You turn the old iron handle. Feel it give with a soft click and push the door open into warmth. Holes in the stone hearth against the far wall. You close the door behind you, and immediately the sound of the rain changes again. Softer now. A steady murmur against the roof and windows, instead of the full layered roar it was on the porch. This is the sound you'll be falling asleep to tonight. Rain, close but held outside, exactly where it belongs. You set your bag down just inside the door and take a moment to look around. The main room is small, but complete. A single overstuffed armchair sits angled toward the fire, upholstered in a deep, faded green that almost matches the shutters outside. A narrow kitchen occupies one corner. A small stove, a stone counter, a single shelf holding a modest collection of mismatched mugs. A worn wooden table sits beneath the window, two simple chairs tucked beneath it, and along the back wall, a narrow staircase climbs to a loft above, where you can just make out the shape of a bed beneath the slope of the roof. Everything here is simple. Nothing is new. The chair has clearly held countless tired bodies before yours. The table has clearly held countless quiet meals. There's a particular kind of comfort in that, in being somewhere that has already proven many times over that it knows how to hold someone gently through a long, rainy night. A small wooden clock ticks quietly on the mantel above the hearth, its face slightly yellowed with age, its hands reading somewhere close to 9. You find yourself grateful in a vague, unhurried way. that there's nowhere you need to be by any particular hour tonight. The clock is simply here to keep gentle company with the room, not to press you toward anything. Beside the clock, a row of smooth river stones lines the mantel, each one a slightly different shade of gray and green, clearly gathered over time from the creek below, and set here by hands that liked the quiet weight of them. You pick one up without quite deciding to. Turn it once in your fingers, cool and heavier than it looks, and set it back exactly where it was. The floorboards beneath your feet are wide and worn, gaps between them filled with the soft gray dust of decades, and here and there a small braided rug softens the space in front of the hearth, and beside the bed you can just see up in the loft. The whole room carries a faint, comfortable smell. Wood smoke, old timber, the particular mustiness of a place that spends more time closed up quiet than open and busy, and beneath all of it, very faintly, the clean mineral smell of the rain finding its way in through the old window frames. You cross to the hearth first. The fire is low but well tended, a small stack of split logs waiting beside it. You add one, then a second, laying them carefully across the coals the way you were taught once, long ago, by someone patient. The new wood catches slowly, a thin curl of smoke rising, then a small lick of flame finding the dry bark, then another. You sit back on your heels for a moment and watch it grow, listening to the first soft crackle and pop as the fire settles into its new fuel, listening beneath that to the rain, steady and unbothered against the cabin's dark windows. There's a kettle on the small stove, old, dented in one place, but clean and well cared for. You fill it from a hand pump at the edge of the stone counter, working the handle slowly, listening to the low groan of the mechanism, and then the rush of cold water filling the kettle. You set it on the stove, light the burner beneath it with a long match from a tin box on the shelf, and while you wait, you explore the small collection of tea tins beside the mugs. Chamomile, something labeled simply evening blend in handwriting you don't recognize. A tin of dried mint leaves, loose and fragrant when you open the lid. You choose the chamomile. It feels right somehow for a night like this. The kettle takes its time. You don't mind. You lean against the counter and look out through the small kitchen window at the darkness beyond, where the porch light catches the rain falling in long silver threads past the edge of the roof. And beyond that, nothing but black hillside and the vague gray shapes of pine trees swaying very slightly in a wind you can't feel from in here. The kettle begins its low whistle. Not sharp, just a soft, rising note that seems to match the tone of the rain outside, and you lift it off the heat before it grows any louder. You pour the water slowly over a spoonful of dried chamomile flowers in one of the mismatched mugs. This one, pale blue, with a small chip in the handle that your thumb finds naturally as you wrap your hand around it. The flowers unfurl slowly in the hot water, releasing their pale, honeyed scent up toward your face as you lift the mug close. You let it steep. 3 minutes, maybe 4. You don't check a clock. Time tonight isn't something you need to track carefully. It simply passes, the way the rain simply falls at its own steady pace, needing nothing from you but your patience. While the tea steeps, you wander toward the narrow bookshelf built into the wall beside the window. 3 short shelves, crowded with books that have clearly lived here a long time. Their spines soft and faded, some with handwritten labels, where the original titles wore away entirely. You run one finger along them slowly, not really looking for anything, just enjoying the small textured sound of your fingertip catching on each spine in turn. A thick volume of old maps, a guide to local birds, its pages soft as cloth, a slim book of poetry with a cracked leather cover, someone's initials pressed faintly into the front in gold that's mostly worn away now. Tucked between 2 larger books, you find a thin, hand-bound journal. Not a diary exactly, more a logbook, the kind visitors sometimes leave behind in places like this. You open it carefully. The handwriting changes from page to page. Different visitors across different years, each leaving some small note about their stay. One entry mentions rain falling for 3 straight days and never wanting to leave. Another, just below it, simply notes it was the best sleep in months. A third, practical and kind, reminds whoever comes next that the fire needs more kindling than you think, and to check the shed. You smile faintly at that last one, picturing the small woodshed you noticed on your way in, its tin roof adding its own particular note to the layered sound of the rain. You close the journal gently and slide it back into its place between the 2 larger books, leaving it exactly where the last visitor left it for whoever comes after you. Outside the window beside the shelf, you can just make out the shape of the porch railing beaded with rain, and beyond it, nothing but layered darkness and the steady silver lines of rain caught briefly in the light from indoors before vanishing back into the night. The kettle's low whistle calls you back to the kitchen. With your tea in hand, you settle into the green armchair by the hearth. It's exactly as comfortable as it looked, worn into a shape that seems to have been waiting for someone. Cushions soft with age, the fabric warm from its closeness to the fire. You draw your knees up slightly, tuck your feet beneath you, and wrap both hands around the warm mug. The fire has grown now, the new logs fully caught, casting a shifting, gentle orange light across the room, across the low wooden beams of the ceiling, across the worn floorboards, across the dark window, where the rain continues its steady percussion. You take a slow sip of tea. It's warm and mild, and tastes faintly of honey and something floral you can't quite name. Above the crackle of the fire, the rain has found its full voice now. Not louder exactly, just more present, more textured. You can pick out different sounds within it if you listen closely. The steady drum against the roof directly above you. A slightly different pitch where it strikes the tin roof of the small woodshed you noticed outside, and underneath all of that, the deeper, continuous rush of water running off the eaves and down into wherever the ground carries it. There's a particular kind of stillness that comes from sitting warm and dry while rain falls heavily outside. You feel it settling into you now, into your shoulders first, loosening something there. You didn't quite know this was tight. Then into your chest, your breathing slowing to match the steady, unhurried rhythm of the room around you. Then further down, into your legs, your feet, until your whole body has taken on the same patient, unbothered quality as the fire and the rain and the old chair holding you. You take another slow sip of tea. Outside, very faintly beneath the rain, you hear the wind move once through the pines. A long, soft exhale of sound, there and then gone. And the rain closes back over it like water closing over a dropped stone. Your eyes drift, without any real effort, toward the fire itself, and you let them rest there, unfocused, watching the slow shift of orange and gold among the coals. There's a particular kind of ease in watching a fire with no purpose at all. Not tending it, not needing anything from it, just letting your gaze follow wherever the flames happen to lead. A small tongue of flame rises along the edge of one log, curls and vanishes. Another catches at the base, glowing a deep, steady orange before fading back into the general warmth of the coals. If you let your mind soften enough, you might start to see shapes in it, the way people always have around fires like this one. A brief curve that looks like a wave, gone as soon as you notice it. A bright ember that flares once like a small star, then dims. A fold of ash that shifts and settles into something almost like a low hill, or a sleeping animal, or nothing at all. Just ash, just warmth, just light. You don't need to hold on to any of it. The shapes come and go on their own, the same way thoughts do when you're this relaxed, arriving softly, staying a moment, drifting on without needing your permission or your attention. You simply watch, tea warm in your hands, letting the fire do what fire has always done for tired travelers. Hold their gaze gently, asking nothing, offering only warmth and quiet motion until the rest of the body follows the mind into stillness. Outside, the rain continues its steady work, and here, inside, the fire continues its own. And for a while, that's the whole of everything that matters. Two steady, patient sounds, one of water, one of flame, keeping easy company with each other while you rest between them. Let's listen more closely for a while to all the different sounds this storm is making around the cabin. There's the rain on the roof, of course, the main steady voice of the storm, a full layered drumming that never quite repeats itself exactly. Always some small variation in its rhythm, the way no two moments of rain are ever perfectly identical. There's the rain in the gutter along the porch roof, a different sound entirely, a low gurgle and rush as the water gathers and channels away, occasionally swelling into a brief, heavier gush when some new surge of water reaches it. There's the rain against the window panes, a lighter, sharper patter, individual drops sometimes distinguishable from each other, before they blur back into the general hush. And beneath that, the occasional soft trickle of a single rivulet finding its way down the glass in a long, wandering path. There's the sound of the wind moving through the pines outside. Not constant, but arriving every so often in long, soft waves, stirring the branches into a low, rushing whisper that rises and falls and eventually fades back into stillness until the next wave arrives some minutes later. And underneath everything, if you listen very carefully, there's the sound of the whole hillside receiving all of this water. A deep, distant murmur of streams swelling somewhere below, of water finding its way into the earth, into the second creek crossing you drove through not so long ago, still rising, still rushing, patient and unstoppable in the dark. None of these sounds are urgent. None of them ask anything of you. They simply continue, layer upon layer, the way they've continued through countless storms before this one, in countless cabins much like this one, sheltering countless tired travelers, much like you. Your tea is nearly finished now. The warmth of it has settled fully into your chest, and the warmth of the fire has settled into your skin, and the sound of the rain has settled somewhere even deeper, into the part of your mind that's already beginning, very gently, to loosen its grip on the day behind you. For a while, you don't think about anything at all. You simply count softly in your mind the way you might count anything meant to ease you towards sleep. Not sheep tonight, but the small variations in the rain itself. One heavier gust against the window, carried in on a brief rise of wind. 2. A distant, rolling murmur of thunder, so far off and so soft, it's barely more than a change in the texture of the quiet. You feel it more than hear it. A low vibration somewhere beneath the steady patter of rain. 3. The gutter along the porch swells briefly louder, then settles back into its usual gentle rush. 4. A single heavy drop, gathered on a branch outside, falls all at once against the roof with a small, isolated tap, distinct from the endless rhythm around it. 5. You're not counting toward anything. There's no total to reach, no reason to keep track once you lose your place. It's simply something for your mind to rest lightly on, the way a hand might rest lightly on a warm stone, not gripping it, just resting there, comfortable, unhurried. 6. The wind moves again through the pines outside, a long, soft wave of sound rising and falling. 7. The fire settles below with its small, familiar tick. 8. Somewhere, very faint, you think you hear the second creek crossing, still rushing steadily along its path down the hillside, patient in the dark. By 9 or 10, or somewhere close to it. You've likely already lost count entirely, the numbers dissolving quietly into the general hush of the storm. And that's exactly as it should be. The counting was never really the point. The point was only this: sitting here, warm, safe, listening, while the rain did all the work of settling your mind, one soft sound at a time. You find yourself rising once more, unhurried, to refill your mug. The kettle still holds enough warmth to save you lighting the stove again, and you pour the last of it over a fresh spoonful of chamomile, watching the pale flowers turn slowly in the heat, releasing their scent up toward you, the same as before. Settling back into the green chair, You notice the rain has changed again while you weren't quite paying attention. It's heavier now. Not a storm exactly. Nothing sharp or sudden about it. Just a steady deepening, the way a river rises after a long day of rain somewhere upstream. The sound against the roof has thickened into something fuller, richer, almost a single continuous note now, instead of countless individual drops. You can hear it finding new paths around the cabin. A fresh trickle starting somewhere along the porch eave that wasn't there an hour ago. A slightly louder rush from the gutter at the corner nearest your window. None of it concerns you. The cabin has clearly weathered far worse than this many times over, and its old timbers seem entirely unbothered, settling occasionally with a soft, comfortable creak that has nothing to do with the storm outside and everything to do with simply cooling slowly through the evening. You take a slow sip of your second cup and let your eyes drift half closed, watching the fire without really watching it. The way your attention settles on something familiar and steady when there's nothing left to think about, nothing left to plan, nothing left to do, but sit here, warm, while the rain does exactly what rain does. At some point, you're not sure exactly when, time having gone soft and unhurried, the way it does in a warm room with a good fire, you feel a small pull to step outside once more, just for a moment, just to stand beneath the porch roof and feel the full weight of the storm from close range before you finally settle in for the night. You set your tea down, pull on whatever you shed by the door earlier, and step out onto the porch. The cold air meets you first, sharp and clean, carrying the mineral smell of wet stone and the deep green smell of soaked pine needles. The rain is loud out here, immediate, no longer softened by walls and windows. A full, enveloping roar that fills the whole dark clearing around the cabin. You can just make out the shapes of the pines at the edge of the clearing, swaying gently, their branches heavy and dark with water. Somewhere below, past where the drive curves out of sight, you can hear the second creek crossing running loud and fast, swollen now with all this new rain. A deep, steady rushing sound carried up the hillside on the damp air. You stand there for a while, arms wrapped loosely around yourself, simply receiving it all. The cold, the dark, the enormous steady sound of the storm, doing exactly what it's meant to do. There's something clarifying about standing at the edge of so much weather while staying completely dry and safe beneath the porch roof. It makes the warmth waiting behind you through that door feel even warmer by comparison. After a while, a few minutes perhaps, though it's hard to say exactly, you feel the cold start to properly settle into your hands, and you know it's time to go back inside. You step back through the door into the warm, amber-lit room, and the sound of the rain drops back down to its familiar, muffled hush, and the fire's warmth reaches you immediately, gratefully, the way it always does after even a short time in the cold. You lock the door behind you, more out of habit than necessity, and know that whatever this storm decides to do for the rest of the night, You'll be warm and dry and held exactly where you are. You finish the last of your tea and set the mug down on the small table beside the armchair. The fire has burned down again to a low, steady bed of coals, glowing a deep orange red, no longer needing new wood. It will hold its warmth long into the night on its own, the way a well-built fire always does. You rise slowly from the chair, feeling the particular heaviness that comes with real, earned tiredness. Not exhaustion, just a comfortable, welcome weight settling into your limbs. The kind that makes the idea of a soft bed feel like the only sensible idea left in the world. You cross the room to the narrow staircase, your feet finding each worn wooden step easily despite the dim light. The fire's glow reaches just far enough to guide you, and beyond that, your hands find the rope railing worn smooth by years of exactly this same slow climb. At the top, the loft opens up beneath the sloped roof, low enough in places that you duck slightly out of habit, though there's plenty of room over the bed itself. The bed sits directly beneath a small window in the roof's slope, a skylight, angled so that if you were to look up from the pillow, you'd see nothing but dark glass streaming with rain, and beyond it, nothing but more darkness, more rain, more of this same patient storm. The bed itself is simple and inviting, a thick quilt, hand-stitched in soft, faded patterns, folded back over crisp linens that smell faintly of cedar from wherever they've been stored. A single lamp on the small bedside table casts a warm, low circle of amber light, just enough to see by, not nearly enough to keep you from sleep. You sit on the edge of the bed for a moment, listening. Up here, closer to the roof, the rain is louder, fuller, a rich, enveloping sound that seems to come from everywhere at once, surrounding the small loft the way water surrounds a stone at the bottom of a stream. You change into whatever feels most comfortable. The specifics don't matter, only the feeling of finally fully settling in for the night, and slide beneath the heavy quilt. It's warm immediately, warmed by the rising heat of the fire below, and it settles over you with a comfortable grounding weight. You reach over and turn down the lamp, and the loft falls into a soft, rain-lit darkness, not fully black, since the skylight above still holds a faint gray glow from somewhere beyond the clouds, but dim and deep enough for sleep. You lie there for a while, on your back or your side, however feels most natural, and simply listen. The rain hasn't slowed at all. If anything, it feels heavier now. Up here beneath the roof, each drop landing on the shingles just above you, with a soft, continuous weight, thousands of them merging into one long, unbroken sound, like a held note that never quite ends. Somewhere below, the fire settles with a soft, occasional tick and shift as a log resettles among the coals. Small sounds, comfortable sounds, the sounds of a cabin taking care of itself through the night without needing anything further from you. Your body has gone heavy and warm beneath the quilt. Your breathing has slowed to match the steady percussion of the rain. In and out. In and out at the same unhurried pace as the water falling on the roof above you. You think, faintly, about the road that brought you here, the long climb through the pines, the 2 creek crossings, the green shutters glowing warm in the dark. It already feels distant, the way the events of a long day always do once you're finally properly settling into sleep. Tomorrow, if you want, you can think about the drive back down. Tomorrow, if you want, you can explore the hillside or sit again in the green chair or make another cup of tea. But that's tomorrow. Tonight, there's only this: the rain, heavy and patient on the roof above you, the fire settling into embers below, the quilt warm and heavy across your shoulders, and the deep, unhurried dark of the loft holding you exactly the way the cabin has held countless tired travelers before you through countless storms, just like this one. The rain doesn't slow. It doesn't need to. It will fall exactly like this, steady and full and endless, for the rest of the night, long after you've stopped listening, long after your breathing has gone slow and even and deep, long after you've drifted past the edge of waking entirely. You're already most of the way there. Let the rain carry you the rest of the way. Notice how heavy your eyelids have become, heavier than they were even a few minutes ago. Heavy in that particular way that means sleep is very close now, closer than it's been all day. There's no need to fight that heaviness, no need to hold onto anything at all. You can simply let it settle over you, the way the quilt has settled over your shoulders, the way the dark has settled over the loft, the way the rain has settled over the whole quiet hillside outside. Somewhere below you, the fire ticks softly once more, a small log settling deeper into the coals, and then falls silent again, content to hold its warmth quietly through the rest of the night without you. The rain continues, steady, patient, unbothered by the hour, unbothered by anything at all, simply falling the way it has been falling for hours now, the way it will keep falling long after you've stopped counting the sound of it, long after thought itself has gone soft and slow, and finally, quietly stopped. Your breathing has found the rain's own rhythm now, slow and even, rising and falling in time with the steady percussion on the roof above you. In with the rain, out with the rain. There's nothing left to think about, nothing left to plan for tomorrow. Only this: the warmth, the weight, the dark, the endless gentle sound of water falling on a roof that has sheltered so many tired travelers before you, and will shelter so many more after. The cabin holds you. The quilt holds you. The rain holds you, the way it's held this whole quiet hillside for longer than anyone can remember, patient and full and endlessly falling. Just the rain now. Just the dark and the warmth and the rain. Sleep well.